Ready? Welcome to the January 12th Parks and Trails Commission meeting. I was gonna say, has everyone had a chance to read the minutes? Motion to approve the minutes.
I second the motion.
All those in favor, say aye. Or I guess there's any discussion first. Okay, all those in favor again. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, motion passes. Topics from the floor. Do we have anybody online or anything or?
Well, it's not, see.
Okay, so we have none of that. New business. Additional application press release for Parks and Trails position. Evidently, we didn't have anybody volunteer.
We got a application.
Did we?
Sure we did.
Okay, I haven't heard anything about that. So do we have them go ahead and advertise it for one more month and close just before our next
Well, it's
meeting?
already been closed, so you'd have to do it anyway.
Yeah, so, yeah. So do we, I don't know, do we have to make a motion for them to do it or just? Will the city just go ahead and?
Kathy just needs some direction if that's where you want to go.
Yeah, we would like her to advertise the position again. That sounds fair to everybody. So just the same as we did before. Okay, cruising now. Elect chair and vice chair. We've had Lynn, is Lynn online today or not? Lynn sent out a thing and had a very interesting idea that involves Paul. Since you listening, Paul? Yeah. Okay.
I'm taking notes.
She said she wasn't gonna be, or she was gonna be late to the meeting, and her recommendation is for Paul to be elected as chair, me to stay as vice chair, which would be the question. Jerry?
Well, I don't know if it's a policy or a procedure, but one of the things that we did 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks ago, was we were gonna rotate this so everyone could have it. So I think that who becomes the chair should be. Jacob, have you been chairman?
A long time ago, yes.
Yeah, same with me, but it should be someone, if at all possible, someone that has not been the chair.
Well,
And the person.
When? For the parks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been a while, but yeah.
Have you been?
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were the bicycle and pedestrian.
Yeah, I think you're.
Oh, well, I mean, we're supposed to be the same thing.
Same good qualifications, you know?
But I think it should be someone who's not had it before, and so Ashley. Lucas and
I'm fine. It's just, for me, obviously with I think I already talked about it was, being here in person every meeting sometimes can be a challenge just because I've got grandkids that I end up watching sometimes on Sunday. So it just kind of hit and miss. Tonight I didn't have to have that responsibility, so.
So. What would you like to be chair? Wait a second, I mean, I understand why you're skipping over, we're doing something different now. Rather than having the former vice chair going into the chair, then electing the vice chair to. That's. The way we used to do it, I've been on this commission a long time. It would be the vice chair would go to chair, and we'd elect a new vice chair. And then when their term was up, the vice chair would go there and then we elect a new vice chair. I don't know if we want to keep it the same way or if we want to open for.
I don't think it was written anywhere that we.
I don't think it's, I think we just did that.
How would you?
I think the situation with Howard, that he just didn't feel comfortable with all the.
I'm just not a paperwork person, so somebody else would want
Well,
to step
I
up.
have,
Then I would
I
not.
always have
Yeah.
Well,
comments.
then you're declining the chair.
No,
If I had to, I would take it.
Yeah.
I would prefer if I didn't. I don't mind being vice chair of groups, but I just don't have a lot of paperwork skills. And, filling in occasionally for a meeting or helping with work parties and stuff, that's my forte, not paperwork and that you can get buried in. So that, I know that puts a kink in
Okay,
everybody's
so-
plan.
I got a crazy idea.
Yeah, but can I have?
Go ahead, Jerry. I'll let
So-
you do it.
Go ahead. And
I said we ask our counselor what he thinks we should do.
Well, I like the idea that.
That's what-
We've had where the vice chair moves to the chair.
That's what Doug recommended we did, and we did.
And then we get a new vice chair. And the other question I was gonna ask Paul was, would he be vice chair? And then the next year that he moves up to the chairman position. And then we have someone who's never been there, probably Lucas or Ashley would be then the new vice chair the following year. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I'd like to see. If
But
Paul,
I mean,
and
if Howard needs some help with some stuff, whatever that comes, I don't think there's that much technical stuff. really.
Yeah, the other thing I was gonna say that I lost my train of thought on was, I think I said this last meeting or the meeting before. Dana had very computer literate, but she brought up lots of things that we discussed. And as I said before, I was chairman once. I'm not particularly computer literate. But, Dana could have done, the things that Dana brought up, she could have brought those up as just a regular member. It would, she didn't have to be chair to do that. And like Scott said, I think last time and the time before, basically, the chair is the person who runs the meeting.
Facilitate.
So here's what I would like to see. But I think we is that Howard moves from vice chair to chair. And then Paul moves to the vice chair position. Then next year
So you're nominating Howard and Paul as chair and vice chair.
I didn't do that. I'll let someone else do that. But that would be my recommendation. And I don't wanna, and I'm good with what, I know that my thinking isn't what other people think, so. Please do what you think is right and we'll move on.
So if we do it that way, Jerry, let's keep it on with the tradition we had.
Yeah.
Vice chair just goes to chair.
I do, I mean, don't take it personal, Paul, but you do not come as often as flawless.
Right, no,
So that. I mean,
I've
I'm
been to like
concerned-
2 meetings this year, here, in
yeah.
person,
I'm Concerned about that.
Can you be chair from home? I mean,
Well, I mean, you could chair, we've had different ones that have chaired meetings from virtually, but it would certainly be better if you're here in person.
Is that,
I
would
mean,
that be, can you actually make it here to do that?
Well, maybe in a year, things will change and
Yeah.
hopefully I won't have to. Keep
Uh-huh.
having the little ones as often, and,
Yeah.
and plus, if I know, I could make arrangements ahead of time, to say, hey, I have to be there, so.
And then
hey,
you
I can
can-
make some other arrangements.
yeah.
I mean, I'm only gonna throw this out there, or do you really want to, or do we ask one of these two that's never been in office yet to be vice chair?
I think Paul's already said that he would be
Okay.
willing to do that.
Okay, I'm not gonna throw another kink in that thing,
And then I'll make a motion, we keep Howard or Howard goes to. We make a motion, Howard's chair, Paul's vice chair.
So should we discuss?
You can vote on it.
Well, you discuss after we take the motion.
I think. That all sounds good to me. I mean, Lynn did propose as the opposite of that, so I don't know how that would necessarily work. Hers was never seconded. So I don't really know how that would go down, but
I'm not sure what you're talking.
Lynn Pettit actually said she made her motion without being here that she thought Paul should be chair.
I think you have to be here to make a motion.
That's it. Yeah, and nobody's seconding that idea, so I think we can go with what has been proposed. Does that sound fair to everybody? Does that sound fair, Brandon, what I'm saying? Okay, since you're our liaison here.
Do you agree with us doing the vice chair go to chair then?
Yeah, I wouldn't get stuck on, this is what was done 5 years ago. I think you're a different group than was here 5
I
years
just think
ago.
it's
So
easier to rotate to get everybody.
it makes sense that somebody that is chair is somebody that's been around a while and kind of knows how things are gonna run. And I also like the idea of vice chair kind of getting prepared for that role, learning how to take that on. So, but ultimately it's up to you guys, whatever works best for the commission now, so.
Cause it was a cluster, then Doug recommended we do that, and then we just did that and stuck with it forever.
You have any suggestions, John, or?
We have a motion,
We
we have a
already
motion, we have a
so I think we
motion,
have to-
and we've discussed it, I guess.
Go with that.
Okay.
We're gonna drop the motion and start opening that up, then.
Okay, okay. Okay, then we've had a motion. It's been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. So remember, one of the two of you vice chair next year. You got 1 year to decide.
No, they don't have a
No,
year to
not
decide.
necessarily.
We have a year to decide.
Get decide that.
Well, if you don't do it that next year, what if you will do it the following year?
Okay, so I guess we're done with that. That's off the table. Okay, so then the next would be of reviewing things that have gone in the Parks and Trails Master Plan with park recommendations. You know. And I just noticed, is there two different versions of our master plan? Because a lot of us have this binder. And then some of the stuff that the city printed out for me is laid out differently with different pictures than the binders that we have for the Parks and Trails Master Plan.
And what was printed came off the city's website.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm not.
So it's, we got kind of two versions here. As which just came to light at the beginning of the meeting here.
Maybe it got updated.
Yeah, I don't, was it ever updated or anything, or from its original conception?
I don't believe so.
Okay, because I was looking and just noticing different things, so you'll have to bear with me. To do it, it could be a hair more complicated than I was hoping for. I was hoping Buck was gonna be here too, but he's not here today. So hopefully we can do it as everybody kind of looked at it to know. And I guess we should say, can you bring up page 80?
90.
Well,
91.
you see, that we got different pages. That's where it gets complicated.
What's on your page 80?
My page 80 is in my Parks and Trail master. Well, my page 80 is 6th Street Park. And the actual Parks and Trails Master Plan, page 80. Sorry. Part. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, page 80 is 6th Street Park. But that's back into. Because it's recommendations, needs. I'm lost. Yeah, the page number is going. Yes, I do. Sorry about the delay. Yeah, I guess we're gonna say
Well,
5.4 is needs assessments and conclusion. That's where the one that I have here.
Howard, if you go,
Actually, page
if you go
8.
back and look at it. You start on page 80 in the,
Yes.
in the old one.
Yeah.
That's where they actually start discussing them.
Yes,
But then if you go to page 90, that's where they kind of have them all,
The recommendation.
they have them all. Listed, so it's,
So that's 90 is the start of. Yeah, so.
yeah, 9, yeah, but if you go back to page 80, it talks about things that should be improved.
And that's recommendation.
that's where I'm totally. Sorry, see, that's where I'm not a good paperwork person. But I do see how a lot of this is still the same. We just start in then on page 80, looking at the stuff and Try to go through it real quickly.
What I think we should look at page 90. And what I think page 91 is where they list the park recommendations. And then if you go back to 80, then it kind of funds it a little more backwards. But I think we should look at page 90 with the headings and then, okay,
What section is that?
page 91.
Park recommendations.
It's point, park recommendation.
Okay, well, if the numbers don't align with this.
So on page 91, it just kind of has you know,
Okay,
a highlight, and then in other places it has more detail. Okay.
Yeah, it's 92, like I said, yeah, the recommendation is kind of a summary of what needs to be done in each.
yeah,
That's what you're getting at, it's kind of an just kind of a general overview.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so let's all go to page 91, 6.2. Number 1, Sixth Street Park, permanent handicap accessible restrooms with drinking fountain. I was hoping Buck could be here to be able to say if things like that had ever taken place.
Jacob,
It's not there,
It's
no.
not there,
go
Okay,
for it.
It's not there. There's nothing there but 2 ball fields.
yeah, that's not
When I
there.
used to coach, we used to play the girls' high school soccer games there. We did have a bathroom. That
Yeah, but they tore that out. And they'll bring in porta potties now.
Yeah.
never had drinking fountains, and you would think with the Little League playing there a lot, that
Right, no, but during the spring and that place is packed with kids and
Yeah.
parents.
I
And
love.
there already water there?
there's nothing there.
Okay.
well, that,
No.
that's where something we don't need to go
No,
down a
I'm
deep
gonna
hole here.
Leave that right by the bathroom, where the bathrooms were, there's water accessible, yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
Infrastructure.
I used to water that field a long time ago, so there is
Mhm.
places to water.
okay, so we don't have to do anything there. That still needs to just stay there just as it is. That's something that the parks, that's something that needs to be done to the park, because we're just going through these trying to decide if any of it has been done, just so we can kind of minorly update the plan is what the purpose of.
Everything to be added.
And if you go back.
Yeah, we have
What-
been looking at that for a couple of months now.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's nothing in there regarding Milton Creek, right?
Yeah,
There is, I mean, there's a Milton Creek Trail on there already.
well, let's just go.
Howard, then if you go back to page 80. It has, permanent handicap accessible restrooms and drinking fountain, improved Little League baseball fields, which that's been done, I think. Parking during games can be limited. Well, there used to be 2 houses there where people used to park. The city sold it. I was not for the city selling it, but they did. But, people park on the roads, and it doesn't seem to be an issue, does it? How? I mean,
The parking there is hard.
Yeah.
and we're not gonna
During
move
baseball
those
season,
houses.
it's hard.
Yeah.
We bought the property across from the far field on 7th Street. At one time, the park had purchased that property, and we're talking about putting a parking lot there, and all of a sudden, they put houses up there. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
that's where people used to park all the time, the 2 houses. Yeah.
'Cause I remember even drawing a little map.
Well, that's
They were
over.
full when there were soccer games too.
It's full during baseball, it's full during football. It's
So we're not gonna what are we doing, Howard? Are we gonna say just, yes, this stays the same?
Yeah, Sixth Street Park, dugouts still need to be replaced. Were the fields ever re-leveled?
They did some work on the fields. The fields are better than they were. They're not great, but they're not
They
terrible.
always need work.
I thought they put in new dugouts several years
They
ago.
rebuilt them, they did some work to them and stuff, but they're still,
Okay,
It's just bleachers.
no, there's dugouts on the 6th Street, on the other side though, 7th Street one, there's nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing over there.
so yeah, we can just leave all that the same technically. On Sixth Street Park, number 3 probably could be gotten rid of, because the parking for games right away on Sixth Street are kind of. That's all gone where they used to park over there. I mean, I guess we could just leave that alone too. There's always parking issues over there.
Yeah, the parking over there is terrible.
Okay. So I think we can just leave that alone, just the way this reads, if that sounds good. Okay, so then what we'd be to McCormick Park, page 91. Expand Veterans Memorial to include recent conflicts, install multi-sports basketball court.
Tell me memorial.
Yeah, I don't know, I don't understand what that means to include recent conflicts. I'm not quite getting what that.
Well, to update it for like the Gulf War and subsequent.
Before the memorial ended at the Korean War.
Yeah.
So it's since been updated to include the more recent conflicts, but they are.
Oh, conflicts meaning, I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
They are planning another stage of expansion though, so that's something that the VFW is working on. Nothing major, but they are still working on a few small additions to that memorial.
That one's, yeah, so that one, I think that.
And then Howard, if we go back,
So then technically, what, yeah, Jerry?
we go back to page 86 now, there's a whole list of things that
Cool.
for McCormick. Oh, no. Oh, it's page 85, excuse me. Page 85, there's the whole list of things for McCormick. There's 12 of them.
Multi-sports basketball court, ideally covered. I don't think that anything's ever happened there. 3 more covered picnic shelters by dog park, by pavilion, playground. I don't like that. It sounds like, by the dog park, there still could always be more room for expansion for more picnic areas, so I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on that one. You guys kind of agree? Expansion of War Memorial to include other wars. Sounds like there still could be some expansion still taking place, so I don't even know if we need to say anything yay or nay on that.
Isn't this what we're doing? You're kind of just doing a new master plan then? Just going through this?
Well, people said we need to go through and see if we thought that some of the things have been done on it. So do we want to go through this like this or not? That's a little bit of what I'm trying
You
to.
just want to hit the highlights, Howard?
Yeah. Just.
What are some of the other items that are in there? I mean, I don't think it's,
Uh,
I don't think it's redundant. No,
Yeah,
they're looking, the city's looking at updating the master plan, is that right?
at some point,
Is that
but,
right?
but we were out.
Or-
But they would eliminate what's been done and keep what hasn't anyway.
I'm seeing this is becoming more of a rabbit hole than
Yeah.
if we.
I think it's a good exercise to go through and look at your accomplishments over the last, since it's been updated, which are pretty significant. There's a lot of, you've done a lot.
So you think
It
this is
doesn't feel
good?
like it sometimes, but get back and look back a few years, we've done quite a bit with the veterans.
Oh, we have.
A lot of it.
I guess what I was getting at, I was thinking there may be some things that, let's say, for example, the skate park needs a lot of work done to it. Okay, that's one.
Uh-huh.
Park. I'm not sure that that's in the master plan. In
Uh-huh.
terms of it needs to be resurfaced or something needs to be done, because it's
Uh-huh.
not, I get, a lot of kids complain, you guys probably hear about it too. So that would be something that we would want to see in the master plan, so that if perchance we could get some grant funding, or we could get some later on, it would
Mhm.
already be in there, and that's how I understand it, that you're wanting to do that too, or?
Yeah, just given our limited resources and staff time here, we have. Transportation system plan is kind of active right now. We're working another big planning project for the Scappoose to St. Helens connector, which you'll see more about. But in order to fund this thing, we were looking at the state and they're through their TGM program, which is Transportation Growth Management. They fund Parks and Trails master plans. We'll get in that queue. So we're setting up this
But I mean,
list of accomplishments, what you want to add. Maybe we do an amendment along the way to, but not a full rehaul and restart over the.
Right.
Yeah, Jerry.
Number 5, Paul, repair and update the skate park.
There you go, it's already in there.
Many skaters have reportedly
Been in there.
saying now to go to the newer and more equipped Scappoose skate park. Smaller steps up and down the park and a drinking fountain. That's under 5. That was all the skate park.
and Howard.
Yeah.
If I could, John, I mean, since we're low on staff, is there anything we can do for granting? I mean, because could be kind of, stuck for a while here without staff. And what can we go looking for grants and doing the application, that type of stuff. With, you know, a review by the city itself.
I think it'd be good to have a check-in with staff to
Yeah,
understand,
of
you know, what
course.
resources, if matching requirements there are and things of that nature. Commitment on-
Yeah. But,
Yeah, we're-
so. I'm hearing a yes, but with.
Yeah, we're always looking for money and again, leveraging local dollars.
Well, that's how all this happens, I think is like rent. Cause we don't have any. Recurring income that is dedicated to improvement. So this is, everything that we do is actually. Come from rents.
But not just local match requirements. A lot of time that's even in-kind labor support.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always.
I'm starting to see we can be in a rabbit hole to go through this page by page.
We started this,
It took a year to create it, so.
Yeah.
There's a lot here, so.
we started talking about the master plan because we wanted to add to.
Uh-huh.
That was-
One thing we could do, Howard, there's numerous parks to go through. We could go through like 5 of them maybe today. And then next time go through another 5.
Okay.
And that could be on our agenda.
Mhm.
And yet, when we go through this paperwork for 20, 30, 40 minutes, it gets pretty,
Oh, yeah, I don't want us to become buried in this like we have and
but I think.
things that we do.
But we've talked about the master plan a lot, and I think it's something we need to look at, and like John said, like on McCormick Park, there's nothing about the playground in the old one, and now there's a great playground.
Right, yeah. And stuff done, so.
Uh-huh.
If I could just ask John a question.
Yeah.
We had discussed it before starting the session here. The stage at the McCormick Park, we didn't get that, in. Because it's a little more expensive than previously,
Correct, yeah, it had to be cut from the budget.
Yeah, but is there grant still that was awarded for that? That was still
The
utilized?
stage did not have a grant specifically tied to it,
So
but we will continue to look for grants and see what can be leveraged. And when that was funded through the Urban Renewal Agency, that agency is healthy enough to match a grant that we've,
Then you'll go apply for one.
and
Is there any
you'll
other-
be back looking at it again. So
Is there any other sources that you could look?
Urban Renewal Agency is a pretty good source. No. But it's not the only source. It'll be matched with another grant.
I'm wondering if. Because there's places around that have, other cities that have fairly new stages. Wondering if it'd be, looking to call around to see how they get up there, some funding. Just see if there's other sources.
The portable stage that we moved in last year to do 13 nights worked out pretty well. Reshaped that, took that foundation out so we can move it back about 10 or 15 feet, so it'll be pretty close to the. Should be able to move it back and be functional in the interim.
That's concerned about that getting left off for in state grade. It's something I think that is. It would be a jewel in that.
Okay, well, I like Jerry's idea of just trying to do part of them. I think we'll use the 6.2 on page 91 as our guide for go through into other things. So we're on McCormick Park. I guess on page 85, is everybody pretty much happy with just the way that it still reads for page 85 at McCormick Park? Change much at this, I mean, it's a matter of what's been done. It's letting us look and see where we are still on the plan.
Their significant upgrade in McCormick is the electrical infrastructure there was upgraded to Community Day and other events,
There's probably new restrooms there since this was done too, I imagine.
No, I don't think there
there's
is.
restrooms.
Those are the same restrooms
Yeah.
in there forever? Wow, they're in good shape.
Bridge, I think may or may not be a part of this since the update.
And probably the disc golf course.
I think that was in there.
Was it?
Well, no. I can't remember if the disc golf course came after the master plan or not. There's no mention of disc golf course in here though, that I've seen.
So what would be the number one thing we'd like to see done at Cormick?
We'll slowly work on the list that's there.
Yeah, so it depends on who you ask.
Yeah, yeah. And we're not trying to rewrite the master plan at this time, so.
Okay.
So, you know, just to keep things moving.
And just a question about the more parking that. You know, during the our day, the St. Helens Day down there, you know, it gets pretty already filled up, but it doesn't seem like it's an issue most of the time.
We have 2 spots to park.
What's that?
You can park down below and park by the softball field. There's plenty of parking.
Well, it says in the master plan that it's more parking. So that's why I'm bringing.
For McCormick Park?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, the more parking can come over right now over at the Fair building. That there's more parking for the park over there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to point out that do we really need that in it?
Yeah, so Jacob.
If that's not an issue.
So like, you know, when we go to Citizens Day, there's not enough parking, but that happens once a year, and it's dry.
Yeah.
So how about when there's little league games there and tournaments and things like that?
There's always plenty of parking.
Love-
Like I
like
said, you have the lower section where you can park, you put a lot of cars down there, and then you have the upper section by the fields where
The library.
then you got the library park. Yeah, you got plenty of parking there.
If it's nice out, they let us park off, so.
Do you know why that was included in the master plan, John?
The parking was upgraded. It used to be gravel over by the playground. It was a small amount of it was paved, but they went in and graded and paved that whole area. The new pavement that you see that there's since this plan.
So that's. We can.
I think we can probably take that off.
Yeah. Same thing for Great Cliffs where it was gravels.
You guys paved that whole
And garbage.
And the rest.
whole area by the T-ball fields. You go down to the lower level. You have the main parking that was over by the memorial and everything, then you have the T-ball fields over here, all that's new. So, yeah, it's,
So do we need to do anything for McCormick Park yet? Do we add anything in there?
I think we could take 11 off.
Yeah. Yep. Get rid of 11.
I think
I
something.
think we could take 12 off too, couldn't we?
think so.
Yep. Take 12 off too.
It'd be nice to have Fox for you guys more.
I think something else that I would add on there, I brought it up in meetings past is. We put in the BMX track years ago when it first got put in. There used to be, you know, that was, I don't know, the city dumped rocks and boulders and stuff in there. That's where maintenance or public works would use to like off haul their backfill or whatever, but. There was you know, when you come into the park, there's that culvert that runs under the road. That is, Tega was built that for the water issue down there, right, for drainage. And what there used to be, you know, had a map you could draw, but it used to be like from that road to towards St. Helens Street. There was almost like a small little stream, a cold, you know, that dug, you know, they just dug out and went back in that area where all those trees are at. And so that area, I don't know how it was because there was not a walking, I don't remember what it was like back then, but I don't, people say that it didn't flood like it floods now, right? Because the water would catch into that stream and then it went out that, yeah, out that, or whatever, but, when we put the track in, we ended up covering up that, right? But before we covered it up, we got permits, this is probably before John was here, we got permits and we put in a, I don't know, 18-inch culvert that runs all the way from the street. Now, it may not have been done, because I think maybe there was like an interesting building inspector that was with the city for a while that they ended up having to get rid of. But anyway, maybe things weren't done exactly the way it was supposed to be done, but I mean, they did look at what was done in Public Works and it was filled properly. And so there's a culvert that runs from that, where it runs under the road all the way back into those woods there. I kind of know about where it ends, but it just ends. So me right now, I know that's an issue in the park when it rain, any bit of rain, I mean, all winter long, that just floods back there, just floods out. But that would seem like a fairly inexpensive item to fix that flooding back there, to find where is the end of that culvert, if that thing got plugged up, or does there need to be some type of a catch basin, or there should have been something at the end of that culvert, like a billow they do, and a little I can't even think what they're called, but where basically that water would come in, they put like
Stormwater management.
straw up against it or whatever, and then the water would flow into there, and then it leaves and heads out that direction. Cause it was put in with the right, so it was probably never done. But it's there, the infrastructure is there. So maybe I just.
I'm still confused of where it flooded.
It floods between probably about, it starts about like right where the BMX concession stand is, and floods all the way to the other road over by the library. That whole area has just got 6 to 8 inches of water standing all winter long, pretty much.
It turns into a swamp.
Yeah.
Okay. And so where did that water used to run, that area?
I think it would run down this,
The culvert that you
This
crossed when
culvert.
you first came in.
but there wasn't pipe in it. It used to be, it was just open.
I got you.
It was open
I
all over the
understand.
road, and we laid pipe in it and covered it up, and it's probably either gotten a bunch of debris at the end of it, and it's not working like maybe it used to, or anyway.
Okay.
That would be an item that I would be interesting maybe to add to.
But I think my opinion on that is that, we should make that. We should let Buck know that right now.
Oh,
And he-
I brought it up a couple of times,
So have, okay.
but I didn't know if maybe that's something that needs to be on the master plan. Maybe not, I don't know. It's,
Sounds like a maintenance issue.
okay, maybe I'm off bases.
It would be nice for the BMX.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's something I think that what we need to do is draw up a list of things that we're gonna ask. Maybe it does need to be in the master plan to put more emphasis on it or something. Yes, it's a maintenance issue, but it's been an ongoing thing for several years, hasn't it? Just what I've been hearing.
Yes, it has.
So,
Constant.
I'm gonna put that kind of as a number one for McCormick Park is drainage. Because we don't need to get into huge discussions on it right now. I just was trying to go through and clear up this stuff, and then we'll come through and make a list of recommendations. Or we can mention something quickly and just put it on a sheet. I don't know. Am I the one to be trying to keep track of what we're saying that we want to add? I guess, so I suggest some other people to write something too.
I don't know. They're probably, yeah,
There's, it seems to me that there is piles of snow in there. I don't-
maybe some better landscaping for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So have we talked about McCormick Park enough then with what the listing is? Does anyone else have anything to add or subtract? We said get rid of 11 and get rid of 12 at this time. And eventually we're gonna add the drainage. Or,
Or it's something, else, whatever, yeah, it's fine, it's just.
okay, so then we could go on to Godfrey Park. Enhance playground with natural play area and install ADA approved swing set. To the existing swing set.
Howard,
Yeah.
I walk through this park on a pretty regular basis.
Uh-huh.
And one, I would really like to see a swing set there. I know they're very expensive, but a swing set would be really nice. The other thing that I've advocated for is when you enter Godfrey Park from Fourth Street, there's like a little road there. Road kind of runs diagonally through the park. On the right side of that, I'd like to see the city maybe dump some dirt in there, excess dirt, and make that an off-leash dog area. So with,
Rather than Great Cliffs.
well, no, not rather, just, that area is not used at all. And, well, I better not say that. I don't think I've ever seen anyone in that area, all the times I've ever walked through it. But if the doggy bags were over there and it said off-leash dog park, dog park, maybe not off-leash because it's not fenced, but dog park, then that area could be used as a dog park and it would be actually used where now it's not been. The other thing I'll say too is that, and I don't know what happened, Brandon, you might remember, but I know that at one time, Jen, I thought she had a grant for, a playground that there's like a log that's gonna be there, all sorts of stuff. And I thought it was a done deal,
Yeah, I did too.
but I don't know what happened to it. Obviously. So those are things I'd like to see. I would like to see off this dog park. I'd like to see a swing. And if we're probably not gonna get playground equipment there, but that would be nice too.
I think the only thing that's been new there is a fence. The buck put in there last year.
The teeter totter's there, the slide's still there, but the swing, Buck talked about that a month or two ago about how it's
But
Expensive.
the off-leash area there would be. I'd prefer it there than Great Cliffs, because that Great Cliffs is an excellent. It's a prime real estate there. And to have,
Oh, I see your point. Yeah.
for a dog to run right there. I think
And more people.
That could be utilized for,
We do have a lot of people though that drive into Great Cliffs purposely to get their dogs out. We've got people that are constantly doing it down on the lower half. And so I think I like having Great Cliffs have that. Or a place where it separates the dogs from the people.
Godfrey's. Couple on the edge.
But still we have people that want to enjoy the riverfront and Godfrey doesn't have the view that Great Cliffs does.
I know that's the reason why I'm saying that is kind of a ways for off-leash area, because it actually can delineates just who.
Who would be using that middle tier if it wasn't a off-leash dog park?
Put, landscape and put some, roadies and that type of stuff in there.
I think it's all rock.
There, you have the base of that is all grass, it has to be something,
It's got a lot of rock in it.
so, and there's trees around there.
Yeah.
I think there's potential for that area. Make it a lot better than what it is, I think, right now,
Yeah.
better utilized.
Yeah, the trouble with that area is that. If we're locals, we know how to get to it, but if you're coming on, on a yacht. Or yeah, people just don't, my wife and I have been up in there a few times, but that's about it.
Mhm.
We talked about half of it being a dog park,
Uh-huh.
back part being a pet dog park.
Uh-huh.
And then the front half being with benches and things like that, for people to use that. That was one idea we talked about one time.
Yeah, I don't know. I enjoy.
Oh, no, excuse me, that was Great Cliffs Park we were just talking about.
Yeah.
That, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy Great Cliffs having a dog off leash park because when you have people with their dogs down below, you can say the off leash park is up above. And if you didn't have an off-leash park on that area, you would have people going, well, then I'm just gonna run my dog down here anyways.
People just going to do it anyways.
Well, that's the problem with a lot of dog owners. You know, and we've had problems in that area with dogs being off leash and everything, or being off leash in the lower half. And so if we get rid of the option of being able to say, well, the off leash park is up there. It negates, people then are even more gonna go, screw it, I'm just gonna run my dog down here.
Can we go back to Godfrey? Can we go back to Godfrey? Let's take, going down a rabbit hole. Can we go back to Godfrey Park?
That's what I was saying, go back to, went over to Godfrey, the off niche area there.
Yeah, I don't know how to handle this. I mean,
Well, I'd like to see an off leash dog.
a second off leash dog park.
Be not an off leash, but a dog area.
Designated
A
area.
designated dog area, like when you go to a rest stop and it says pet area.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to see a pet area so people know that that's where you take your pets and that's where the doggy bags are. And I think that one area that's never used would really be nice for that.
Okay, so Godfrey Park, look at adding a dog off or a dog park. That just gives us a
Designated
whole
area.
nother,
Designated dog
Oh, pet area.
pet area
that gives us.
and a swing. And I think the swing's a big deal. I think the swing is the number one
Yeah.
priority
Mhm.
by far.
Because I hate seeing us, you know, it's either an off leash area. I hate having to see us start adding a whole other classification. If it's a dog area, that's different than an off leash area.
Yeah, awfully sure, that's what I think he's trying to say.
But what do we have at McCormick? We have a dog area there.
No, it's an
Yeah.
off leash dog area.
Off leash?
They have 4 or 3 of them right now.
Right, we have three of them.
Uh. Um. So are we satisfied with what we're saying for Godfrey Park then, for now? Got these other couple things, yeah. Cause what I'm trying to drive to is that I wanna see us end up. After a meeting or two, a list of things that we can go back to the city council, not just a item, but I'd like to make it worth their while to look at doing it like where we have 3 or 4 or 5 things that here, this is what we'd like to see you add, rather than here's one thing, spend all your time on it. I think it could be easier if there's multiple things at one time, rather than just a thing, you know, for them to look at trying to add. Less paperwork, would I say, John, or you have any input on that, or
I think, yeah, there's an efficiency of bringing it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
multiple things at one
multiple times
time?
at Once.
Okay.
We could do it, and. So I think we already have, we have a pretty good idea of what the list we wanna give them right now,
Uh-huh.
and, so. We just,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's ever happened to the list. I think that list now is in a lot of our brains.
well, I mean, we can make the fit list right now, cause we're talking about something not uphill, we're talking about resurfacing the pickleball.
Well, now the pickleball, I mean, I'm trying to keep us on
I'm
track.
gonna go to Civic Park next.
Well, actually, we just did Godfrey. So Civic Pride,
I always have something to say, Howard, you know that.
okay, Jerry, Civic
Well, I
Pride.
think I said it earlier, but I think a splash park there would be really nice because, you know, when the kids go swimming there in the summertime. That would be an area where the parents could, you know, be with their kids in the park there. So the big thing there, I think, is a splash park, and I think it fits in really well with the district's swimming pool.
Yeah, well, they've never wanted to do anything with that, and then when you look at page 95, actually, that is mentioned. In there already, I believe, is the splash park. Yeah.
Um,
Listed in there.
a larger splash park.
I'd like to say something about Civic Pride.
Yes, Lynn?
Civic Pride does not have any water right now that goes to it. We can't water any trees that we'd plant there or anything. They do have lines that are at the very back of the property that run parallel to the St. Helens Market and the school, but they'd have to dig up and put in a sprinkler system or extend any of that. So again, you know, the money has to be there to do that.
That's already part of it.
And Civic Pride. And also they're going to be putting in, we had 3 kiosks that were built for, I believe it was Nob Hill, Civic Pride, and Botanical Garden. They're putting in the one for Civic Pride sometime this winter. And there was overgrown blackberries on 2 sides of the park as you enter on the left side. And my husband and I went and took tools and cut those all down, and in between the rhododendron and some of the other bushes that were there. Maintenance then went and sprayed the blackberry bushes, which was great because they were very big. I mean, they were big around the stems. And so they had been there a lot. In fact, one of them had grown into the house next door, into the window, and was coming into one of the rooms. So anyway, we're working on that. And the next thing, I'm going to be working with a museum. Brandon and I have talked about this before on Civic Pride. It's got a lot of history, a lot of good history. And so I'll be working with museum to get historical pictures and descriptions for that park. But just cleaning it up right now that's the first step. So as I'm going to be cleaning off the concrete patio that they have there too, where events could take place. And I was thinking that would be very handy for Lewis and Clark Elementary School also. So.
Well, it's neat that it does already say someday a splash park and stuff. You know, sprinkler system. It doesn't say anything about a sprinkler system down there. You know, unless we have a lot of landscaping would be the only reason that we probably need to have a sprinkler system. And
I think it would be nice just to even have a some kind of water there for like a little dog park on that far end or something, you know, with a drinking fountain and a place where they could get water. But it'd have to be over in that far side.
It is.
Unless we come into a lot of money.
So a dog park would make sense because, like I said, it is fenced on 3 sides already when the property's filed.
So Civic Pride are two ideas there is possibly water of some kind, just for people to be able to have water there and or eventually irrigation and a dog park. Is that what I'm hearing now for Civic Pride?
Yeah, closer to.
Yeah, I'd actually like a dog park there better than over at Godfrey. We already have a working dog park at Great Cliffs. You know. Anything else?
But it already has a bench there. It already has a bench by that big tree in the back that's closest to the elementary school and the market. So it'd be a nice place for people to bring their dogs and sit on the bench.
Far away from there. So what do we want, dog parks in every park?
Yeah, that's
No, we don't need to have a dog park. I'm just throwing that out. We don't have to have that.
Okay,
Yeah, just a suggestion.
okay.
But a water fountain, a fountain would be nice for drinking,
That would be good.
I originally thought that we need to start.
Yeah, that's what I always thought we should have it there or at,
But again,
Pacific Pride.
Too.
yeah, yeah.
Then there could be with that patio that we're talking about. That can be used for a shed on top of that. Because it's
I mean, that,
keeping tools and that stuff.
yeah, I've said that several times at a community garden there, because that's kind of an underutilized little park.
And our cards around.
So that could be something else to, when we're coming up with our idea of what we're gonna try to add to the master plan. You know, those would be things that we could try to do too.
Senior center is.
That's- Senior center itself.
Okay, so that gets us to Civic Pride on the park recommendations area. There was 7 areas that had recommendations. We've gone through 4 of them. So there's 7, gone through a little more than half. Do we want to do the rest of this next month? And just to keep moving on so we don't get waylaid on too many. Does that sound agreeable to everybody?
I'm good with fresh ideas as well.
Yeah. And it'll give me a chance to try to make heads or tails out of all of these things.
I could do one more that's real simple.
Yeah, Lynn?
That's Walnut Tree Park. And Kiwanis does not take care of it anymore as of a year ago. So, and I cut all the roadies and pick up sticks or limbs that fall off the walnut tree, but otherwise, maintenance takes really good care of it. Picks up any debris that we cut or mows the lawn or picks up at the end of the season, the walnuts that are all over the grass. So they do a really good job of that.
Okay. So,
Howard, I'd like to see us add the botanical gardens to that. That we discuss
okay,
for next time.
okay. Okay, so is everybody burned out on that enough for right now?
Well, I think it's good that we, and I like your idea of, bringing them to the, the city council. Saying, hey, these are things we kind of like to see.
Yeah. Would rather just come in with a bigger list than just nickel and dime them. So put this on the agenda for next month again, if you can, please.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, I was kind of hoping that we've actually come up with a list to actually submit to the council, put on the literature plan, something that I've been working on.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to get on for about 5 months now. I'm trying to, we'll fit the golf course idea. Because some of these are somewhat time pressed. And I was hoping to get that. Having a commission okay, and then going through council.
So do you want to discuss the potential for a golf course today?
Well, I think we should make our list. This would, the list that we were talking about to add on to the master list. And we were saying, well, there's other things that we want to add on to it. We want to come to every week, every month. So why don't we just make a list now and then next year have another list? So we just have it annually then. Some of this,
I don't know if we're prepared to have a list that we want to hand off today,
No.
I think we should go through the other parks before we make a list to
Yeah.
submit to the city
Yeah.
council.
Yeah, yeah.
Could we advance the golf course idea in any way possible by itself, or does it need to be with all of this?
Well, if we're trying to do it, you know, we don't wanna do it piecemeal, but. So,
But if that thing is time pressed, I feel like we could move that forward by itself.
What was it with, that the city should manage a golf course or?
looking to, actually purchase. So, I think of this, all these things that we're working on as, infrastructure of our community.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
that's just one thing.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
yeah, it's. And there, you know, it could be, it might be upsetting for some fairly soon. So, you know,
Yeah,
that's,
I mean,
it could be, I don't know, I've heard, you know, different things, it might be, or might not.
mhm.
I don't wanna really speculate that much because it's somebody else's property, yeah.
Uh-huh,
And if,
uh-huh.
Malign anybody or anything like that,
Yeah.
I think they might be maligned by it.
Cause something that nature, I'm wondering too, if we need to have an idea of what all these other things are on a list before the city would wrap money up in a golf course. There's
It's not the
that,
city wrapping money up, it's actually the ranking, you go off the ranch for these things, it's not the city.
Is that the school district would be in on it too, right?
Well, I'm not sure they would get benefit out of it because like I've already said is I do have close to 100 grand of kit that is specialized for golf courses already ready to be donated.
Mhm, mhm.
So what do you wanna do, Scott?
I don't want to step on anybody's toes, that's why I've been waiting for this
my toes.
to get a list, you know, because
Well,
other people have. other-
we've been trying for 2 years to get a list or
Well,
3
Frank
years.
Lucas was saying, you know,
Well,
this might, if it's time pressed, maybe this is something that, you know, could
But
be.
if it's not for sale,
I see what you mean for like getting the idea on there, so it could be an option in the future.
Uh-huh.
Just-
Yeah, I just don't wanna go into, you know, the ownership of the whole thing right now, and,
Since we're all kind of wishy-washy here, let's just put it with the general package then, that's.
Yeah.
Since we can't agree.
Well,
on
the
it.
other thing too that we haven't talked about is you're talking about getting up, looking at some of the other parks on the next meeting. But we also have trails as part of this
Uh-huh.
as well. So
Uh-huh.
we
Oh,
haven't-
there-
We haven't even talked about those.
There's a huge amount. I mean, we can probably donate a half an hour at every meeting for the next 6 months. And
Well, no,
there's a
but-
huge amount of trails that was even listed in the master plan.
There's parks, so we took the summary of parks, but there's a summary list in there of trails that were proposed and what's been done, what hasn't.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
You know, that, so I don't know if we're gonna look at those trails as well as being Parks and Trails Committee.
I would hope that we will eventually take a look at that. I need to try to go through here a little bit more and see where that's.
Well, that's what.
Did I know I saw it in there somewhere that it would there?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely wouldn't be able to do it the next meeting, but maybe in two months down the road.
Right, right.
After the parks,
Yeah.
move on to the trails.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
And I think there's some of them that are in there that's projects that have been done. I know that. When, you know, there's the riverfront for one example, it's listed, you know, there's been some of that, and there's some work that's been done, so, and it's good to go through that too, like.
Oh, yeah.
There's just kind of.
Just to refresh ourselves on.
To see that, you know, oh, well, yeah, I guess some of the stuff actually has gotten done.
Mhm. 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 Okay, are we satisfied with that much today then, I guess? On to, concept of excellent trails, Jerry.
All right,
Speaking of trails, there you go.
speaking of trails, this is the last National Geographic, there's the meerkat. And the meerkats are meteorological, is that what I want to say, they're run by women, or they have once. And they always have an outlook, and they have different calls for eagles and predators that are on the ground. That's just for information. But there's an article in here about professional trail builders. Okay. And the first thing I want to talk about is political, not about the trails. Because we've kind of gone around and around about the tourism not funding anything in the parks. Especially Nob Hill Parks when, you know, the Halloween was using that. You know, I can also say that, you know, when we have baseball tournaments, softball tournaments, I don't know if there's skating tournaments or not, you know, disc golf tournaments, you know, those are things that bring people in. And the city has told us that, well, you're not selling a ticket to these things, so we can't really use it as a tourism. But when people come to for a baseball tournament or a softball tournament, it is tourism. So this is one article, and these guys were professional trail builders. They built trails on several different continents and different states and that kind of stuff. So this one's about basically trails that's in the Patagonia and Argentina. But one of those things I want to read, this is political. This station is not about trails. This is political. It says, from the United States to Saudi Arabia to Romania, community planners have realized that funding affordable ways to bring people back to in touch with nature not only boosts their happiness, but also represents a solid investment for tourism. So, you know, people coming to do the urban trail, coming to look at the Columbia View Park, that's all one that it could be tourism. And, you know, I don't know what we're gonna ever do about that, but some of the tourism money could come to parks, is the point I'm trying to make there. Okay, these are just a couple things. I won't go into these too much detail, but they talk about how steep a trail should be, you know, what the slope of a trail should be. One of the things they talked about that I never thought about was putting pebbles next to a trail. They say that rocks or little rocks, they say that's a no-no. They say it highlights a clumsy attempt at user management, pointing to what he calls a gardening path that was built after the tenure. A trail bordered by pebbles on either side, besides drawing a hiker's eye from the environment, or a border trail trapping water and feels like a prison. For the hiker, he says, borrowing an idea from trailblazers, author rebellious hikers walk outside of them. So, you know, you're not good for the visual, they're not good for people to use outside. I'll leave it at that. So, you know, so when we build trails, when we do it maybe in park.
Nature, on the lower edge of trails, they usually do 5% slope. On the lower edge, sometimes they will batter not with pebbles, but with stone. So there won't be any, to mitigate the erosions.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure that there's exceptions to the, okay. They talk about how big steps should be, you know, that sort of thing. I mean, there's lots of little technical things here that I don't talk about. And getting back to one of the things I'll talk about, got to bring the urban trail into this. But one of the things they do talk about here is there needs to be variation in a trail. You know, you don't want to be walking through the same thing all the time. And that's one thing I think the urban trail has. You know, it's got beautiful things, you know, like the Columbia View Park, which I think is really special. When people, every time because Columbia View Park was one of the parks people just think that's great, and I do too. Another thing is, I think the viewpoint from above the cliff trail up there, when you look down at St. Helens, you look at the river, you look at Mount Hood, you look at Mount St. Helens, I think that's probably the nicest viewpoint between Portland and here. So that's a beautiful thing. There's lots of good things, you know, the downtown, the courthouse, you know, and then all the rest of the different parks, you know. So it does have variety to it, which I think is important. The other thing I want to talk about that's probably practical for us is, and I talked to Buck about this the other day on Friday when we were going through Nob Hill Park. One of the things they talked about is using big boulders to mark the trail. And I could think of numerous places this could happen, but the more obvious place I was thinking about was if we have the Boise Historic Park, it actually becomes, you know, the Boise Historic Park. There's a trail that runs down the creek there, which is really a cool trail. But when you get to the park, you wanna then over to the Camas Meadow, there's like an open area there. And so besides having a sign there, which Buck says is expensive and people break them and you know, you can put two big rocks, you know, there. And that's one of the things they talk about here is that, you know, you can use these big boulders. And Buck says, yeah, I got lots of boulders and I can move them.
Sure. Sure.
You can.
I was gonna suggest when we got to Neat Creek item, I had already run this by Lucas, there's a trail college at the end of April in Cascade. Locks, if you wanted to go to that, I was thinking,
Oh, cool.
going to that and asked Lucas,
That would be.
so we can, you know.
When did you say?
It's at the end of April,
Huh.
last weekend of April.
Can you organize that?
Well, you'd have to, it's. You sign up yourself.
Okay,
It's
well,
with
give
the-
us, yeah.
It's with the PTC trail and that type of stuff. It's a 3 day.
Oh,
thing.
things.
It's
Is there a
college.
fee?
No, it's free. So, you know, I was looking at that with the Mountain Creek. So it's just.
The main points I want to make there is one that, you know, parks can be for tourism and trails. And two, I like the idea of the big boulders marking places occasionally, and then. And not lining, you know, all the trails by using pebbles, but there's probably places where. And they talk about when there's big turns, how to. You know, there was more stuff.
Some of that I was talking about is actually for keeping.
Erosion and stuff, yeah.
If you look at the metro parks, a lot of what they use is just mulch on the trails instead, and we don't do that out here really.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, we did for a while in Nobbille, but it always wore out, then it gave the trails more of a medium. For more weeds to grow in the middle of the trail being.
It's kind of what I worry about with like the gravel as well. Like it's gonna get weeds too.
It does, that's why I always blow off Nob Hill to try to keep the leaves down from being on the middle of the trail, and it makes the gravel last a lot longer, because then you don't get all that fresh stuff getting walked into the middle of the path, of the leaves breaking down to give it dirt. And then going back to what Jerry was talking about, lining the trails with rocks and stuff, when they built the Fifth Street right-of-way trail. I love the idea that they lined it with rocks, not pebbles, but rocks. But then now, as time has gone on, I've learned that when you're trying to weed eat along the edge of a trail and you've got all these rocks that are 4 to 6 inches in size, and if you're not using a blade, you're using string, and the string is constantly hitting the rocks, and you're eating up a lot more string. You know, so it's not, although, I mean, I do not want to say anything bad. I love that the CRYC built some of our trails, and they did do fantastic jobs and gave kids in our community a chance to get out and do something for the environment. I wish they were still around. So, you know, that's my saying on that. Anything else, Jerry? Okay. Old business, that's probably a little bit of a. Well, I didn't understand how our thing was going, because number 6 old business is a little bit more about the master plan, but I think we've talked about that enough for today.
So Howard, one thing that's not in here, which I thought was gonna be in here, I did look at this ahead of time.
Okay.
But, you know, we were talking about park assessments, you know, and I thought we were gonna discuss that this time.
Yeah, I did meet with Dan on that. Some of the data with it. We have, you know, the park assignments. She gave me a list of that, and I'm thinking about, I'm not sure if that's the best way of doing the assessments. But given the assessments, I just want to say a couple words about that. These assessments can be actually utilized next time the master plan is put together for the master. We're actually doing a lot of data collection for that. That's a great thing about that. second thing about it is that it, basis, we all go to the parks, and, you know, a lot of us do not always hit the parks, all the parks. This makes us hit all the parks if we do the assessments. And third, it also shows, you know, doing this instead, we're out there doing the work. And just makes us look like what we're doing, that we are doing, and fulfilling our role as commissioners. This is something, the assessments of, there's something that we all agreed to, we voted on. And, I'm a little disappointed that there are some of us who have not really put the effort into it, that we have voted on, you know,
So where has that information been going and how is that information collected since Dana isn't here? Who's gonna be correlating all that information?
well, I'm gonna give Buck the password and that for it, but it's just automatically updated in it once you go to the site and log in. You know, just go right to I have it in my in the email.
Uh-huh.
So to get all the data.
Jerry?
I have a little different take on this. As usual. So last time, you know, I didn't do it this time, 4 months in a row, 4 months in a row, I went to my
Well, we kind of suspended it for
3 parks. And I had that information. And I asked Buck, I say, hey, I've done this for 4 months. Have you got any information? No, I haven't got any information. Now, I was reluctant, yes, when we passed this thing. Lynn
I was
was
very reluctant
Lynn was a
too.
no, Howard was reluctant, I was reluctant, but we both voted yes. Hey, let's just see how this works. The thing I did like about it, I enjoyed going to the parks, I really did. I thought that was really good. But I go to most all the parks, Walnut Creek Park and Civic Pride Park. I gotta go to Civic Pride Park, because when you guys were talking about that, there's a lot of things I didn't quite pick up on there. But, you know, other than those 2 parks, you know, I've been to the other parks on a fairly regular basis. One of the things I mentioned last time, and if you don't agree with it, that's fine. You wanna keep doing what we're doing, I'm good with that too. But what I would like to see, this is my thinking, is that every month, you know, we pick a park. And so we say, okay, Howard says, okay, next month, we're gonna have a discussion on Columbia View Park. And so between now and the next meeting, we all go to Columbia View Park and we look at it. We come back and we have a discussion about it. Maybe the next time we all go to Great Cliffs Park, come back and we discuss that. That way, in a year's time, you know, typically we're gonna still be going to the parks on our own. Otherwise, too, it's not like we're not, you know, we're not going anyplace else. I go to Nob Hill Park all the time. You live there, Howard.
Yeah.
And so I think it would do, I would really like the idea of us going to different parks. I like the idea of discussing the parks, and people still have their own parks, like Lynn said, I think last time or the time before. So if you wanted to talk about Columbia Botanical Gardens, you can do that. If you want to talk about, you know, Nob Hill Park, you could, you know, if you had some specific things, you can do it. I just, you know, it's like one of the things I told, you know, and my last time I went to Campbell Park, you know, and Buck knows that the pickleball players want different services. We brought that up. You know, like one of the things I said, okay, one of the picnic areas roof needs to be cleaned off. You know, yeah, does Buck really need me to tell him that? You know, I mean, that's his job, and you know, or you know, so anyway, my thinking on this is, you know, that we pick a park, we all visit it, and then the next month we talk about it, talk about the pros, cons, and then in a year's time, you know, we've discussed all the parks.
The drawback,
Agree with me or not? Go ahead.
the drawback of that is that you'll pick a park and the 12th one that we pick won't really get the attention until here with this type of methodology, they're being visited constantly. That's what's, that gets us, you know, more data that way, and it's a more effective data. We can actually do more on these assessments than what is stated. We could, to help with the master plans, we could tailor it, you know, these things to fulfill more of the, you know, what you're looking at. Or these master plans, or look at it, the last master plan, we try to tailor it towards that.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with the way we're doing it now. You know, I just like to see what other people think about the whole thing. I mean,
I just felt it was redundant sometimes, like every month you're gonna go say the same thing about the same park. and
That's,
It's like,
okay, so that's why I
goes
think,
down a rabbit hole.
I think, so you have 3 months, 3 parks. We get 3 parks, we're switching every 3 months, right?
Right now.
So you do one of the parks 1 month, 1 park the next month, 1 park the next
That's
month.
what I was gonna look at, is doing it, so we each take 2 parks. Assign 2 parks, and then you'll have 2 other parks the next time, just kind of rotating all the way through. I'm just trying to figure out a way to do
I
that.
think we do 3 parks, you do one per month.
Cause there's what, 12 parks roughly?
You know, there's 24 different assessment that it's Gorman's a big park, and you don't want to do all that.
Yeah, you break it into sections.
like I had the playground, that's all I had in my car.
I'm right.
So right now, if you do 3 parks per person, everybody gets 3 parks, that's 24 parks.
Well, there'll be 9 of us. Well. I mean, something to that effect. I was looking.
I don't know, my thoughts, I kind of. Not a big fan of the process that we were doing, to be honest with you, because I'm more in favor of just having, doing like I said, doing the 1 park a month, and we all look at the park, and then we come together as a group. I would be leery of creating a bunch of paperwork and extra work that now, it sounds like somebody's got to manage this, so it sounds easy and, oh yeah, well, now we got all this data. Well, somebody's got to collect this, somebody's got to create spreadsheets, and we're just making more work for Buck, and maybe it's unnecessary, like you said, telling him unnecessary information, but then he's got to go through it all because it's there, so somebody's got to look at everything, because you don't know what to eat, you know, we don't necessarily know, so we're gonna lay everything out. So I would be more in favor of just getting together as a group and talking about McCormick Park, and everybody's had a chance to look at it, and I like that idea, kind of, you know, that sounds reasonable to me, but that's my.
Okay, there's that automatically populated with this. If you put out, do the assessments, it goes in there already.
Yeah, but whoever looks at it is my question. I mean, I
They'll
don't
look at-
mind giving
they will look
information
at it
if
from
somebody
master-
looks at it,
This
but
is just like working on the master plan all the way through. It's just, it could have, I mean, if we do this right, we'd save the city money, and we'd be doing our job.
Well, I know that Paul, you can, maybe I'll turn here, but Paul, Howard, Lynn and myself were kind of reluctant when we did this. We said, hey, let's see how it's gonna pan out.
Yeah, I thought originally when we voted, we were voting for a trial period.
Uh-huh.
See how it went for 3 months, so I assume this is now revisiting it to see how did it go, and we're gonna vote on it again, whether we want to continue with it, that's my understanding, right? That was the original proposal.
As I said earlier, that not all of us had actually went through the trial.
So can we hear from you 3 guys?
I like it, but I think we should put it on the agenda for next month, so we can have a discussion about it.
Really.
I've got some comments when you're ready.
I like it. I think it's a good tool, but I don't think you should be forced to have to do it. I think if you go to a park and you feel like doing it, you should be able to do it. Because like, it took time to put that tool together and it should get some use out of it at least.
Yeah, I agree with
You know, using that tool, I've got to see the botanical gardens for the first time.
But, you know, doing like I was saying, you know, you say, okay, next month we're gonna do, you know, Columbia Botanical Gardens. And during that time, you know,
I also like that
and
idea.
if someone said to me, hey, Jerry, you know, I'd like you to show me that. You know, if we could.
Right, but
arrange
see,
time like
all-
you and I did, you know, I would be willing to do that and people who really know different parts like Lynn, I don't know if that's still on the Dalton Lake is still in our preview, but you know, if we want to go look at Dalton Lake, we could call Lynn, say, hey, Lynn, can you can we meet there and you show me? And then,
But Jerry, we all do the same park. All the other parks are getting neglected. What if there's something at one of the other parks that we don't see because we're all here at this park?
well, my take on that is kind of what Lynn, I don't know what Lynn's gonna say, but my take on that's kind of what Lynn says that, you know, we should be visiting the parks on our own, you know, and like I said, I pretty well visit most of the parks except for Civic Pride Park and Walnut Tree Park, you know, and if we see something there, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's good. You said what you.
I think we should put this in the agenda to talk
Okay,
about.
let's
I'd like to
let
make
it
some
go for
comments.
now.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I think it was an experiment and it failed because the information that you took never got to the person that it was supposed to get to. And that was coming from Buck himself. And I think a lot of time has been spent just talking. We used to do things in our parks. Maintenance mows and they weed eat, but they don't do anything around the plant beds. There's a lot of like picking up limbs from trees in your park. When we were I don't like to say assigned, we wanted to be part of this particular park because maybe it was close to where you live. Or maybe it was smaller and you didn't want to take care of something so big. But I think if all of us took at least one and made sure that it's looking good for the city, I think that's what we should be doing instead of just talking. And it was making more work for maintenance because you know what? They have a calendar. They get together every single day at 7 a.m. and they know exactly where they're going, what park, and what they're doing. So it was a duplication of a process that already has been going on. And I really don't understand unless there wasn't enough people to talk to, but I know that some of the city staff had to take time to make that Excel spreadsheet up or whatever kind of spreadsheet it was. But, you know, it was just an experiment and it's taken a lot of time. And I think we need to get back to the business of if you want to work on a park, fine, let's do that. But if you don't and you're physically unable to do that, then take a look at it. Let maintenance know what needs to be done. Come and talk about it at the table if you'd like help. Because, you know, it worked for many, many, many years. All of us working together on that and giving feedback. That's all I'm going to say.
But we've always had really good, since Buck's been in the position, we've always had really, really good response. And if you
Yes,
go to any
yeah.
city park and notice something, you let
Mhm.
Buck know about it and he gets on it pretty quickly.
But since I've been on this commission, which is longer than anybody here, we've focused on just our parks. So like one of my parks is Sixth Street Park. There's nothing to do there for me, Lynn. I cannot do anything there.
Right, and that's okay.
And the reason why I got that park is because of the ball fields. Not because it's close by my house or it's little or nothing to do. It's because it's the ball fields. So I'm just saying, for all of us to go out and look, someone might catch something that someone else don't catch, or you might see something at your park every day where someone else comes in and sees something completely different. And says, hey, what about this? Where, you know, you're used to seeing it like that. So you get fresh eyes on it.
I know
Like I
one
said-
thing that was mentioned, you know, for Walnut Tree Park, when somebody looked at it, they said, oh, it was a mess and there was limbs over in the corner and that kind of thing. Well, that's where the limbs are placed and all the cuttings and anything else. And then maintenance comes and picks it up in that corner. You know, so when you
He said
want
that,
to
and I
be,
said that
when you want to be taking care of a park, when you want to be taking care of a park, you know that park, you know what it needs.
Right, I
No.
get that, but like I said, this was a chance for me to get out and see a park that I normally don't ever go to.
Mhm.
You know, I went and saw Nob Hill Nature Park, which I've been through, but I've never been through like the way I was that time. That time I went through looking for stuff, instead of just walking through and enjoying it, I was looking for safety hazards or concerns or stuff that needed to be done. Where, like Howard, he walks through that park every day. He knows where everything is. So something might miss his eye because he's used to seeing that, for a new person to come in and say, hey, what about this? I'm just using that as an example.
And then you can come back to the table at the next meeting and say, look, I noticed this when I was going there the other day. It doesn't have to be put on paper. That's what I'm saying.
I thought it was a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm just expressing my opinion.
Scott?
I'm just saying that with, about the experiment. Dana wasn't here for November, December. So that's the big reason why, Buck didn't get any of the data. So they'll get data here, you'll get access to data when, next time I see him. I'll in fact email him tomorrow with how to access it. So, but again, I don't think the experiment has been really given its, a full chance. I don't think some of us thought of it. When I looked at on the assessments, there's one of us who hasn't done one of them. I'm gonna see how you can make a judgment without doing these things, to make a judgment.
I think we should just table this for next meeting or
Okay.
something to say.
I'm in favor of the survey part on it, where we ask the people in the parks, like, oh, what is your opinion on this? Do you think that there's safety issues? I don't think you could get that from other park visits like that you can with this tool. And I think that's one of the larger benefits of it
That's
for a
what
master
I-
plan.
I'll second that because when I did my parks, I always tried to talk to people and I got the vast majority of my information from the people that I talked to. They, is there something wrong with this, this playground equipment? And I was at Godfrey and Campbell and they would tell you if there was.
That's one of the things that I think with the master plan, we could do a questionnaire that gives us, a certain. Basis for that, we could use that to question folks while we're doing the assessments, that populates the master plan. And that's what I was gonna suggest, and that was one of the things, so it can be fine tuned to be more productive, I think.
I found it to be a hindrance.
We should.
Like,
Okay,
we're all in agreement.
Next item.
okay, all in agree. Could you put this on the agenda for next month, please?
Yes.
Maybe we can come up with some kind of a compromise, just a hybrid version of both. How's that sound?
You can still do your parks, there's nobody.
I kind of agree with the whole, like, don't make it a mandatory, don't have a, maybe the tool's there, we can use it as we like, kind of thing. And then still maybe do what Jerry had mentioned, kind of, maybe we can have a hybrid version. Just a suggestion.
I do really like the idea that every month discuss a park. I mean, whether it's not with, like you said, a hybrid, whether we do what we've been doing on the park assessments or not. I do like the idea that all of us go visit one park. We all look at it. We critically look at it, and we come back and we discuss it. These are the things we like, these are the things we didn't like, these are the things that need to be improved, etc. I just think that would be I really like that idea, whether it's the other idea we use or don't use. Still like to see us say, okay, next month we're gonna talk about Columbia Park.
Okay, well, next month. Sorry, blowing things off to next month. Could there be a snowstorm, please?
Yeah, we're working on 2 hours though. Holy cow.
Okay, well, we're getting close. There's no trade. Bolton Creek.
I live
Yeah.
We used to.
You'll do it?
Do you have anything for Milton Creek?
was gonna say that the port is having their open house on Wednesday at 8:30. And they're gonna be having a little presentation kind of near the beginning of the meeting on their half of,
This Wednesday?
yeah, this Wednesday,
Okay, what time?
8:30 AM at the port campus. It's like their annual open house, I believe.
Oh, really?
We've been asked to come and testify if anybody else wants to come too.
Okay.
Same person from Oak Creek. We also met with Elliot and Lindsay last week to discuss this and mostly about granting. Because they're doing the grant for the open top site and trying to get some idea of, with the trails and how they can work that into this. So we did that. I spoke with Elliot again today about the granting. And is there anything else that's?
I can think of at the
discussion?
moment. We have the upcoming site visit.
Well,
When is that? The
The
walk?
24th, I put that out on an email with everybody, see if their availability. I've gotten one response from counselors. And I was hoping to get these responses by today, so.
24th, what time are we looking at?
10 a.m. It's in the email.
I did want to say, I saw earlier that Senator Ron Wyden is having an open house in Scappoose on the same exact day at 11, and I don't know if that would conflict people's schedules. So,
Yeah, I got something to say.
I will try to make it, Scott.
Well,
On the 24th.
What I said, I was gonna try to for the 24th and see. How many people count had somebody gonna come, and if I don't get a good turnout, we'll try a different date.
Well,
So I'm still working on that, to
Okay,
figure out if people are gonna come, and then it's mostly, the biggest thing I'd like to get is the council and the, board, commissioners out there. Would be the best portion, or best part of.
my thinking on that is, I didn't know that White was gonna be in Scappoose, but if he's gonna be on Scappoose 24th at 11 in the morning.
Try to change the date.
I think I was, I already put it on my calendar, so the 24th, but
We're
I-
committed, it doesn't matter.
well. I don't know if I will see Wyden or not, but this is a Saturday, isn't it? 24th.
people should have the option to go to that. If they
Yeah,
want
I
to.
think that there might be some of our city council.
I'll send out an email another day.
okay. Yeah, Gary?
Howard, I want to regress back on park assessment.
Yeah,
I would like to have an experiment. I would make a motion that if everyone agrees, agree to it, that between now and next month, all of us visit Columbia View Park. And then next time we discuss it.
I'm not in favor of myself. Cause I don't think it's.
We do Gray Cliffs. We were talking about that.
Yeah. What we're trying to achieve with the assessments.
Well, this is something totally different, like Pat was saying, we could do the assessments and we could also do, the one park every month. I think, I'd just like to see how that would work, because it'd be nice that we were all on the same page, the same park. And I think it would have some real,
Another issue would be, we'd have to notification and we'd have one.
well, I'll talk to Kathy and say, if people want to do that, I'll talk to Kathy and say. No, we don't have to have a notification because we're all doing this individually. So there's no-
out there whenever you want.
floor.
You can,
There's no
yeah.
floor.
Listen, initial ones, just in case folks don't get in trouble.
I'll take the chance of getting in trouble.
I guess,
It's not a quorum.
Yeah.
Don,
We're not all
what do you think?
We're not all gathered.
What's the legal aspect if we all went individually?
Talking to each other, it shouldn't be a quorum.
No, we're not gonna talk to each other until we get back here. Here,
So we're just going to look,
Yeah,
yeah, we
Individually.
we do it all
your
individually.
convenience.
Not as a group.
well, individually before.
Yeah, your convenience in the next month, everybody
You
should.
don't have to if you don't.
No, man.
And you don't have to if you don't want it, you know, if.
What park do you want to pick, Jerry, you said?
Well,
Cliffs?
Lucas, which one do you wanna do?
Great Cliffs would be good. We were talking about the dog park, and so.
And they also talked about having a pier there. They've also talked about having a little cove there, yeah, beach and a cove for kayaks to launch from down at the end there.
There is.
Still in the works, John?
Yeah, I mean, there's a design for Great Cliffs Park, working with the Marine Board. ODFW to do a motorized boat launch and a fishing pier.
Yeah.
It's kind of towards the far end. There's a conceptual design. They've done the bathymetry, they've done the survey.
So wasn't the grant money already issued for that? That,
Just for the design, just for the design. or-
Design, it needs more design, but it's a lot of its products that are pretty, there's not a lot of design work. So
I thought it was gonna happen quicker, actually.
that kinds of things, but there is the match, you know, it's a 25% match, so we'd have to find, I know. But with the ODFW on one side of it, you got Freeboard on the other. It's just the other piece of that you might think about is frontage there in Great Cliffs Park.
The what?
The frontage along the river there where it's kind of falling in the river is imagining what that might look like as an extension of the Riverwalk that's here. Having a nice vertical edge. You know, big wide rail, kind of the same anchor feature right there that
same
To
type
that,
of
the future.
features for the overlook.
Yeah, I think the more that we develop that waterfront, the better. I mean, it for people's use, because, you know, that's and eventually when we get that all, the 20 acres all done down there, I mean, the view along the river will be great.
Yeah,
Okay, I want to make a motion, and this is a non-binding motion. That between now and our next meeting in February, which I probably won't be at.
gonna phone in.
And
You can phone in though, for your part.
that I'd like to make a motion that between now and next February's meeting, that all of us visit Great Cliffs Park and take a look at it and note the things that we like and the things that we dislike, and the things we think could
Yeah,
be
I'll
better.
second it.
You seconded it.
Yeah.
Discussion. Non-binding, it's,
Would we be using the same park assessment tool or
No.
just, okay.
So mental.
Completely different.
totally different.
Separate.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Yeah, one abstain.
Staying.
Okay, one abstain.
This is a democratic process here.
Okay, so then we're done with Milton Creek for now. Staff reports. Brandon?
Staff's not here.
I haven't heard anything from Buck, so, and I don't have anything either.
Okay. Thing, John,
No, thanks for having me here.
appreciate you coming. You add a little bit.
Walk through this the Parks Master Planning Light, I guess we might call it, to mark some things off the list and develop a new list of things to
Okay,
try to accomplish.
we'll give us a little bit, we'll have a bigger list. More helpful.
Just question, would it be possible to meet up to try to get a development question for these assessments? That will get the master plan dovetail into the master plan, so.
Have you ever seen our assessments,
I
John?
guess I haven't seen your assessment.
Well, we can
We need-
tailor too, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the more that those documents talk to and populate each other, or makes it updating that much easier.
I did have one question in regards to like specific projects that are listed in there. Is it too much to ask, or would we as a group need to make a motion to maybe somebody could mark up that master plan of which ones have been done? I'm not saying, I mean, some of them I know, yeah, that's been done, but it sounds like there's some things that like you mentioned, oh, that's already been done. It'd be nice to, when we're looking at a plan that was made before, if somebody go through and just.
I think that's what
Is that too much to ask, or is that?
Well, I think.
That's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing, but I think.
Well, I'm just saying,
Buck here will help aid that.
but who's
tremendously.
marking up, you're marking off them down?
I'm trying to. Once again, I'm not a paperwork person.
Doing great, Howard.
So when we
Well,
get,
I was almost thinking ahead of time, like we're looking at it, we'd already know ahead of time that, hey, this. Here's a list of 12 things that was on this master plan, and you look at it and go, oh, hey, these 6 have already been done. And you get through the list pretty quick that way, but. I don't know if it's, if that's unreasonable.
something where I should try to meet with a couple of other John and Buck, and we just go through and say what's been done and not, or is that having a whole nother pair of rigmarole?
Yeah, there are things you can mark off and things that are probably in progress.
And some of it, we just don't know, being the commission here, what its status is unless you're Buck are here.
Like that, the other shelters, the 2 other shelters in Cornwood Park, they were not part of the plan, but they ended up happening just through grants and things.
Actually, in here, it did say something about more shelters and.
So there is more shelters.
So.
There's actually been quite a bit over the last 10, 12 years.
So I don't know how we wanna progress to make the best of our time if we keep.
Yeah,
Going through the
staff can
language.
go through and see what they think's accomplished and then how to,
See what?
how about if staff goes through the plan and marks off those, what they think is accomplished and submits that to
I
the.
think it'd be kind of cool.
That would
It'd
be
kind of
if you
cool
could,
reading
John,
it.
that could help us going down the
I think it'd be
platform.
kind of cool as a commission to read it, and then as you're reading the list of items that were proposed 10 years ago or whatever, you can look on there and go, oh, wow, this, and this has already been done, we're not sitting here. Has this been
Yes, I
done or hasn't, somebody already knows whether they're done or not.
Is that something you can find time for the staff to go
I
through?
don't think it'd take that long to do that.
Okay, John, maybe I'll talk to you between now and the next meeting to see how that goes.
And Howard, are you gonna send us a list of the parks that we're gonna be discussing next time for the master plan? Or we know which ones we're gonna be talking about.
While we were going through the list that was in the master plan, the
On the page 91,
page
Or
what?
still what, relapsed or something?
on page 91, this was in this.
No, it wasn't. And that's why we were bouncing around back and forth, and it was getting me confused because in a lot of it, you get into that, like Columbia View Park's got almost a page of stuff talking about it. Civic Pride, Nob Hill, it was just. That's why we were kind of jumping around, where we look at the one list and then we go to the other list.
Sorry, not on the list.
Well, just so we know what we're gonna be talking about.
I have a question too. Lynn? This is kind of
Yes.
for you, Lynn. So what's the city's relationship now with Dalton Lake?
Well, it's still owned by ODOT. And the cooperative management agreement ends in 2029.
But there's still an intergovernment relationship between the city and ODOT?
Yeah, they have a management and maintenance agreement.
For some reason, I thought the city said they weren't gonna do anything starting this year.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, I thought it was happening quicker.
Just have to look into reading it. We do
Spend a fair amount of effort looking to apply it.
Yes.
Had it appraised. It took me 3 rounds of trying to get an appraisal that meets ODOT. Certifications to be able to do the appraisal, but it came back really, the number was a lot more than we thought it might be. So
I just talked to ODOT too, and they are going after the ivy in the 56 acres with the people that they had do that last time. And so that'll be done between now and February. That costs like $10,000 to $15,000. So I'm pretty glad they're doing that.
So is ODOT looking at trying to sell it off to somebody to manage it, or what is?
Well, as John already knows, the city has the option to buy that or somebody else does. It can't be built upon because it's
The
there's a lot.
wetland mitigation area.
Yes, it is, but also, it's very passive. We couldn't do anything that wasn't very passive in that area, such as the kiosks and the benches and bike racks. Nothing else would be added in that area because of the wetland mitigation. So you can't really build on it or anything, but it's quite a gem between St. Helens and Columbia City.
Oh, yeah, that's why I can't see that the state would ever want to sell it.
Well, they want to sell it for somebody like an environmental group it's going to be in perpetuity. So if they buy it, then they're going to make sure that it's kept up.
So, well, we got
That's it in a
years.
nutshell.
Okay, let's see, so the counselors, does our secretaries have anything to add to anything here?
That I'm aware of.
Okay,
I have a question.
quick discussion items.
I have a question.
Okay, Lynn?
Okay, because I came in late, who was voted in as chair and vice chair?
Howard's chair, Paul's vice chair.
Okay, thank you.
We're gonna try to go back to where vice chair becomes chair and
The vice chair next time will be a new person.
yeah. Yep, hopefully one of these two people will become vice chair at the next meeting. Oh, I mean, next year. Oh, next year.
Oh, we're changing every meeting now.
Sorry.
You'd have a coup.
Okay. I do have one quick thing to say about Nob Hill. Just Caroline, did the, final tally for hours for Nob Hill this year. Or last year, spring and summer, we donated 156 hours general, and 50 hours of that was our, semi-annual work party. Fall and winter, was, a total of 104 hours, 30 hours of that was the work party. So volunteers gave 340 hours to Nob Hill last year.
Hmm.
That's all I have to say on that. Scott asked about if I was gonna know which parks we're gonna talk about at the next meeting.
Put it on the agenda,
Yeah, okay.
we'll read the agenda and get ourselves.
Okay. If that's it for now, I think, we can adjourn the meeting.
Yeah,
Sorry for having it drag out.
it's the whole time.
Okay.